Hey, guess what? I know, we're back. We're back on the loud couch that makes fun noises. Hello, thank you for tuning in to Storytime with Uncle Scotty. I am your host, Uncle Scotty. We have our own mugs. So much to talk to you about today. Speaking of our own mugs, I have a very exciting announcement to make. So we decided to take Storytime with Uncle Scotty and put it on Patreon because a lot of people have been like, hey, how do I get my own mug? Hey, can we have a story time at home? Hey, can we do these other things? And so if you're interested in any of those, you can go to patreon.com/ScottyCrow. This thing, and maybe you want to pursue some of those things. Maybe you don't, and that's fine, because these stories will still keep coming your way. But we have things like mugs there. Also, if you're reading a book, maybe you need a bookmark. You get your own bookmark. See, it says, when I'm not reading, I'm watching Storytime with Uncle Scotty. We have our own bookmarks, which is also an option. And very exciting to know, y'all, we are on page 119 of this book. High five. Which means we're nearing the end of James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. And I think it would be fun if we all got together to read the end of the book. So, on Monday, April 6th, I think we're going to do a live reading of the last two chapters of James and the Giant Peach. I think we're going to do it at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And maybe 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see. I'll let you know about that. But if you're interested, let me know. Join. And either way, the video will be here for you to consume anytime you want. All that said, let's thank our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsors. Time. Because without story time, there's no time. Also, we have a new sponsor today, oregano, because when you're out of time, try oregano. Oregano, spicing up stories in a different way since 1842. Now, where were we? We were in chapter 30. Chapter 30. Our friends on the Peach had just moved through the Cloudmen once again. There was that deluge of water that poured everyone, soaked everyone. Everyone was just out of energy except for the centipede because it washed off all the purple rainbow paint. And so the centipede is happy and was singing once again the way he does. And let's see what happens next. Chapter 31. How fast are we going all of a sudden? That's not what she says. She says, how fast we are going all of a sudden, the ladybug said. I wonder why. I don't think the seagulls like this place any better than we do, James answered. Imagine they want to get out of it as soon as they can. They've got a bad fright of the storm that we've just been through. They're very scared. Faster and faster flew the seagulls, skimming across the sky at a tremendous pace, with the Peach trailing out behind them. Cloud after cloud went by on either side, all of them ghostly white in the moonlight, and several more times during the night, the travelers caught glimpses of cloudmen moving around on the tops of the clouds, working their sinister magic on the world below. Once they passed a snow machine in operation, with the cloudmen turning the handle and a blizzard of snowflakes blowing out of a great funnel above. They saw the huge drums that were used for making thunder, and the cloudmen beating them furiously with loud, long hammers. They saw the frost factories and the wind producers and the places where cyclones and tornadoes were manufactured and sent spinning down to earth. Oh my gosh, I just realized something. Do you know why I'm not reading very well? I know why. I don't have my glasses on, and it's impossible for me to see anything without my glasses. How unbelievable is that? Oh my gosh, this is so much better. Wow. I can see these words now. It's so helpful. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. They saw the frost factories and the wind producers and the places where cyclones and tornadoes were manufactured and sent spinning down towards the earth. And once, deep in the hollow of a large billowy cloud, like a big puffy full cloud, they spotted something that could only have been a cloudmen's city. There were caves everywhere running into the cloud, and in the entrances to the caves, the cloudmen's wives were crouching over little stoves with frying pans in their hands, frying snowballs for their husbands' suppers. I didn't know that the cloudmen lived in a patriarchal society, but you know what? We've already learned that cloudmen are the villains of this book, so I'm not going to say much more about that. And hundreds of the cloudmen's children were frisking about all over the place and shrieking with laughter and sliding down the billows of the cloud on toboggans. Now, You may know what a toboggan is. When I was growing up, we didn't have snow on the ground, so we didn't have toboggans. But I think a toboggan is like a sled. So the little cloud kids, sliding down these clouds on toboggans. An hour later, ding! Just before dawn, the travelers heard a soft whooshing noise above their heads, and they glanced up and saw an immense gray bat-like creature swooping down toward them out of the dark. It circled round and round the peach, flapping its great wings slowly in the moonlight and staring at the travelers. Then it uttered a series of long, deep, melancholy cries and flew off again into the night. Melancholy, it's a big word, kind of means like sad, like wistful, kind of sad. "Oh, I do wish the morning would come," Miss Spider said, shivering all over. "It won't be long now," James answered. "Look, it's getting lighter over there already." They all sat in silence, watching the sun as it came up slowly over the rim of the horizon for a new day. They must have been headed west. They must have been headed east. I don't know. Hey, here's this picture of this large bat-like creature that yelled the melancholy cry. And there's our friends on the peach being dragged along by the seagulls. I think they should be headed east if the sun's coming up. Ask your parents. Okay, let's do another one. Chapter 32. And when full daylight came at last, they all got to their feet and stretched their poor, cramped bodies. And then the centipede, who always seemed to see things first, shouted, "Look, there's land below!" "He's right," they cried, running over to the edge of the peach and peering over. "Hooray! Hooray! It looks like streets and houses. How enormous it is!" A vast city, glistening in the early morning sunshine, lay spread out 3,000 feet below them. At that height, the cars were like little beetles crawling along in the streets, and people walking on the pavements looked no larger than tiny grains of soot. Soot. Soot's like dirt. I think if you have a fireplace, like the dirt in there is soot. So tiny, tiny grains. "But what tremendous tall buildings!" exclaimed the ladybug. "I've never seen anything like them before in England." Remember, they're from England. "What town do you think this is?" "This couldn't possibly be England," said the old green grasshopper. "Then where is it?" asked Miss Spider. "You know what those buildings are?" shouted James, jumping up and down with excitement. "Those are skyscrapers! So this must be America! And that, my friends, means that we have crossed the Atlantic Ocean overnight!" "You don't mean it!" they cried. "It's not possible! It's incredible! It's unbelievable!" "Oh, I've always dreamed of going to America," cried the centipede. "I had a friend once who—" "Be quiet," said the earthworm. "Who cares about your friend? The thing we've got to think about now is how on earth are we going to get down to earth?" It's funny. "Ask James," said the ladybug. "I don't think that should be so very difficult," James told them. "All we'll have to do is cut loose a few seagulls. Not many, mind you, but just enough so the others can't quite keep us up in the air. Then down we shall go, slowly and gently, until we reach the ground. Centipede will bite through the strings for us one at a time." Because remember, centipede's jaws are like big chompers. Now, I don't mean for this to be a geography lesson, but I will say that, remember, everyone's like, "It's not possible, we can't be in America, it's incredible, it's unbelievable." That's because between England, where they left, and America, the coast of America, it's like 3,000 miles. It's a long way. And they must have been moving really fast, like fast as an airplane, with all those seagulls. But I guess if you have 502 seagulls pulling a huge piece of fruit through the sky, who knows what could happen? Okay, should we do one more? These are short chapters here at the end. Let's do one more. Chapter 33. Far below them, in the city of New York, something like pandemonium was breaking out. A great round ball as big as a house had been sighted hovering high up in the sky over the very center of Manhattan, and the cry had gone out that it was an enormous bomb sent out by another country to blow the whole city to smithereens. Air raid sirens began wailing in every section. all radio and television programs were interrupted with announcements that the population must go down into their cellars immediately. 1 million people walking in the streets on their way to work looked up in the sky and saw this monster hovering above them and started running for the nearest subway entrance to take cover. Generals grabbed hold of telephones and shouted orders to everyone they could think of. The mayor of New York called up the president of the United States down in Washington, D.C. to ask him for help, and the president, who at the moment was having breakfast in his pajamas, quickly pushed away his half-finished plate of sugar crisps and started pressing buttons left and right to summon his admirals and his generals. And all the way across the vast stretch of America, in all 50 states, from Alaska to Florida, from Pennsylvania to Hawaii, the alarm was sounded and the word went out that the biggest bomb in the history of the world was hovering over New York City and that at any moment it might go off. And here's a picture of that. So here we have Friends in the Peach hovering high above New York City. This looks to be New York City because of skyscrapers. And one thing, in England, they don't really have skyscrapers. All these tall buildings are a very American thing, or at least at the time this book was written. And here, you see all the residents of Manhattan staring up at the sky, wondering what this thing is. It looks scary, doesn't it? If you didn't know that it was just a big piece of fruit and some fun friends on top. Okay, we're gonna find out what happens next time on Storytime with Uncle Scotty. Hello, goodbye. I've been your host, Uncle Scotty. Thank you for tuning in. We have our own mugs. Don't forget, hydration is important. Water, good for drinking, also good for washing our hands. Every time we go outside, every time we touch something, every time we touch our face, before we touch our face and after we touch our face. Thank you to our sponsors, thyme and oregano, because when there's no thyme, grab some oregano. Don't forget, if you're interested, visit us on Patreon if you want to join our little community that we're building. And otherwise, I will see you soon. Bye.